Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. Dinesh, does Article 14 exist presently? Yes, of course, Dinesh. Why would it not exist presently? I mean, what is the context of this question? It does exist. Okay, let's begin our discussion now on Article 15. Any doubts before that? Queries, concerns, issues? No doubts. Jyoti, sir, please explain about Article 128. Jyoti, the Chief Justice of India at any point of time can call retired judges who have retired from Supreme Court or High Court, can call them and ask them to attend the Supreme Court, solving some cases, etc., providing help in solving cases, reducing dependency. And when you call these people are under no obligation to come. They may come, they may not come. Clear? Okay. Now coming to the next group of articles, next article 15. Have we seen the movie Article 15? Tell me, how many of you have seen Article 15? Don't worry. Even if you have not seen, you have lost nothing in life. No problem. Yes, Ayushman Khurana. So, as far as Article 15 is concerned, this firstly is an article available or right available to only citizens of the country. Remember, 5 articles: 15, 16, 19, 29, and 30. Please repeat with me wherever you are: 15, 16, 19, 29, and 30. These 5 articles, which are meant only for Indian citizens. Now, what is this Article 15? Non discrimination, meaning the state shall not discriminate. The state shall not discriminate against any citizen on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth. RRCSP. RRCSP. A way to remember this Article 15: RRCSP. Religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth. On these grounds, no discrimination by the state against any citizen. Are we clear? Everyone? Okay. A small question to all of you. We are saying that the state will not discriminate on grounds of sex, gender, but there are government colleges for girls, government school for girls. What is that? Should we tomorrow sit on dharna, protest? Article 14 getting violated? Tell me. Dinesh, yes sir, protest. No, Dinesh, don't protest. Firstly, the court will scold you. Secondly, people will scold you. Because there is in the same Article 15 a clause 3 which says nothing in this article shall prevent the state from making any special provision for women and children. This article allows the state to make special provisions for women and children. Okay. Nikhil, Nikhil, calm down here. It was just to point out clause 3. All is in the crusader mode in life, right? Relax. Life is not that complicated, also. So, this was clause 3, Article 15, clause 3, which talks about how the state can provide for provisions for women and children. Yes, yes, Ganesh. Boys' school comes under this category, right? Example, college for girls. Okay. Now, one more thing. State will not discriminate against us on the grounds of RRCSP. But can people do it? Other people? They also cannot do it. Clause 2 says that no citizen shall, on the grounds of same RRCSP, face any kind of discrimination, any disability, any additional liability, any restriction, or any condition with regard to accessing the shops, public restaurants, hotels, places of public entertainment, etc. Use of wells, tanks, bathing ghats, roads, places of public resort, all these things. So, even other people cannot discriminate against citizens on the grounds of RRCSP. Are we clear? Everybody, if you go to a place, you want to get a flat on rent, the flat is open for any and everybody, but the person asks you, do you eat non-vegetarian food? And you say yes, 3 times daily, and the person says get lost. Is Article 15 getting violated? A for yes, B for no. How is Article 15 getting violated, guys? Tell me. What ground? What ground? A lot of you said yes. I want to know the reason. On what reason is Article 15 getting violated? Silence. Always remember, discrimination, but on what ground? Discrimination is not allowed on only these grounds, RRCSP. On other grounds, discrimination is allowed. Can the state, and is the state not discriminating against you if you are under 18 from voting? Tell me. The state is right. If you are under 25 in certain areas, is the state not discriminating against you? Is the state not discriminating against you on the grounds of being under 25 from not drinking? Yes. Does the state not discriminate when it says that people who are only graduates will be allowed to appear for UPSC? Discrimination. Discrimination on any ground is allowed. It does not matter. Discrimination on any ground is allowed except these 5. So on other grounds, state can make laws and can tell you you can't do that. No, Dinesh, wrong logic. Completely illogical statement. Follow what I am saying. Discrimination on any ground is allowed except RRCSP. Are we clear? Everybody now. My question is, if you ever go to any pub or maybe a club, a dance club, where you are not wearing the designated dress, maybe in the dance club they say you have to wear shoes, slippers not allowed, and you enter the dance club and you are thrown out, right? Sorry, get lost. Is that violation of Article 15? A for yes, B for no. Is that violation of Article 15? Okay, some of you are still saying yes. Why yes, guys? What is the ground of discrimination? Dress code. Dress code is not mentioned in the constitution. So, on the ground of dress code, discrimination is allowed. Okay. One last question. A for yes, B for no. Okay. The question is, you go to a place to get a flat on rent or a PG, and the person asks you, what religion are you of? And you say, I'm a Hindu or Muslim or a Christian, whatever. And the person says, oh, sorry, I don't give this place to Hindus or Muslims, whatever. And you are not allowed to enter the place. Is that violation of Article 15? A for yes, B for no. Why are others saying no? It is a violation. Religion is a ground of violation. One last question, which is a true story. I always say this in the class. This happened in one big city, in one very big state, where some kids who beg near the signal, these kids had collected some money and they wanted to eat the pizza, burger, whatever the food joint was selling, a very popular food joint. So this food joint, uh, when the kids tried to enter the place, the manager there did not allow them to enter the particular place. Tell me, is this violation of Article 15? A for yes, B for no. Those who marked yes, tell me what is the reason for violation of Article 15? What's the ground? Give me the ground. Race? How do you know the race? They all are of the same race. Place? What place? A place of birth means country of birth, not location. Right? That, oh, somebody is born in a big hospital. No discrimination. Not that. Place, rich and poor will not come under race. It's an economic class, not race. Bestie, access to shops, but on what ground? I still feel some of you are not understanding the essence of this article. The essence of this article is that discrimination will not be tolerated if it is being done on the grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. Discrimination will be tolerated if done on other grounds. You go to a five-star hotel and somebody says, come on, get lost. You go to a costly Lamborghini showroom and somebody says, come on, get lost. Possible, right? So based on what you wear, based on hygiene, etc., it can be done. Are we clear? Place of birth violation. Place of birth violation would be if you tell somebody that in this particular place, in our hotel, only Indians who are natural born Indians are allowed. If you are a foreigner, you are born in a foreign country and then you become Indian citizen, not allowed. Sorry, get lost. Or in my shop, only people brought in people born in Kerala are allowed. People born outside Kerala not allowed. That's there. So that's it. Done. Now let's move on to understanding a very, very important element which is there in the constitution, which is the reservation in educational institution. Okay. Okay. So first up, this story starts in 1940s or even before that in the Madras province. In Madras province, there was an issue that there used to exist a government order. That government order was called a communal government order. That was the name only. Communal government order. This order was a reference to reservation of seats in colleges in Madras province, engineering colleges, medical colleges. Now, reservation was for Brahmins, for non-Brahmins, for scheduled castes, for scheduled tribes, for Muslims, for Christians, for Anglo-Indians, etc. Can you observe this? Reservation was based on what? Religion and caste. Now, there was this lady called Champakam Durai Ranjan. Champakam Durai Ranjan. This lady, she belonged to the Brahmin community, and despite scoring good marks, she could not get admission in the medical college because the seats allocated for her community were already full. Two seats for Brahmins were there. They're full. So she went to court challenging this Madras government's order. And why? Because there is a fundamental right called Article 29, Clause 2. And what is this? Let's read here. No citizen, again, no citizen shall be denied admission into any educational institution maintained by the state or receiving aid out of state funds on the grounds only of religion, race, caste, or language. So, no citizen will be denied admission in any government school or college on the ground of religion, race, caste, or language. Clear? This means what? This means that you would, in the Madras province, this government order was actually trying to create reservation policy and denying people entry based on their caste and religion, which was wrong. So, what happened? Supreme Court cancelled this provision because Article 13 Clause 2 says, or 13 Clause 1 says, that nothing will exist or nothing will continue if if it violates Part 3. No law will be allowed to continue if it violates any provision of Part 3. And law means orders also. This was an order. This was an order. So Supreme Court cancelled the reservation in educational institutions. Why? Because it violated Article 29, Clause 2. Now government said, sorry, we have to give reservation. Extremely sorry. So what happened? Through the First Amendment Act 1951, one clause was added. Article 15, Clause 4 was added. This Article 15, Clause 4 said that the state can provide for reservation, can make special provisions for scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and socially and educationally backward classes, which you call OBCs. Socially and educationally backward classes, scheduled castes, scheduled tribes. These three communities were to be given reservation, SC, ST, and SEBCs. And what would happen? Very simple. The government schools and colleges will now provide for seats for these communities. This clause 4 marks the beginning of reservation in educational institutions. So, in our country, at the advent of the constitution, we did not have any reservation in educational institutions. It came through the First Amendment Act. Later on, lot of state governments started providing for reservation in various schools and colleges, including private schools and colleges. This became a concern. Some people went to court saying that Article 14 is getting violated, Article 19 is getting violated. So, what is this Article 19(1)(g)? Look at this here. Every citizen has a right to practice any profession or to carry on any occupation, any trade, or any business. We call this POTB. Profession, occupation, trade, or business. I am running a school. It is my right to run a school, a fundamental right. Don't tell me that no, you have to take certain people from this community and that community. Why should I? It is my right to practice my profession or to carry on my occupation, trade, or business. Secondly, when you impose reservation in a private school as well as government school, you are trying to treat government school and private school in the same category. You are clubbing them under the same group. But a government school and a private school are two different institutions, right? Article 14, wrongful categorization, right? Intelligible differentia. People placed under similar circumstance should be clubbed together. That was also violated. So, because of the violation of both these articles, what happened? The Supreme Court, in the PA Inamdar judgment, cancelled reservation in educational institutions which were unaided. Unaided. What is the meaning of unaided? Unaided means which do not receive government funds. Are we clear? So now, again, the parliament modified the constitution. You see how the parliament keeps on modifying the constitution to bypass Supreme Court judgment. Supreme Court gives the judgment and parliament modifies this. Again, when Article 15 clause 5 was added, in this, what did the parliament say? The parliament said that uh, the state can make special provisions for the, again, socially and educationally backward classes, scheduled castes, and scheduled tribes in educational institutions, whether aided or unaided. So, in the government school, in the private school, we don't care. We will provide for reservation in all schools and colleges. Extremely sorry, private schools, we can. The only exception is minority educational institution. This is the only exception wherein those institutions which are maintained by minorities, MEI, there we will not, but otherwise, private or public, sorry, we don't care. We will provide for reservation in all schools and colleges if we want to. This is a reservation in the educational institutions for scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and other backward classes or socially and educationally backward classes. Are we all okay with this? Any doubt so far? Elmer, private property. See, any property which is open for public in general and there to discriminate, Article 15 comes into picture. Your house is not open for public, but if I am running a shop which where anybody can come, there I cannot discriminate. Dinesh, sir, I did not see any reservation in my school. Sir, the state can. Sir, can you see this word here? Can provide. It is not mandatory. It may provide. It may not provide. The power is there to provide. Are we clear? Everybody? Dinesh was the same person who was the topper in one weekday test, right? Different Dinesh, maybe. Okay. Now, just one small. Okay. Just one small point. In 2019, the government also put one more category called economically weaker section to provide for the advancement of economically weaker section of citizens, those who belong to the otherwise unreserved categories. One clause 6 was added to permit the government to reserve 10% of seats for EWS in schools. 10% seats. How many? 10%. Such reservation will not apply to MEIs, and central government will from time to time notify who will be covered under the economically weaker section based on various parameters including family income. For example, currently the family income is below 8 lakhs. Okay. So this is with respect to the economically weaker section reservation. And in the Janhit Abhiyan case 2022, Supreme Court has upheld the 103rd Amendment Act 2019 as constitutionally valid. Why? Because Supreme Court can challenge or review every amendment to the constitution on the grounds that it should not violate basic structure. Are we clear? So your amendments can be questioned on the grounds of basic structure. Supreme Court questioned it because a petition was filed and Supreme Court found this to be correct and appropriate. Now, we are done with Article 15. Article 15 deals with two types of things. First half deals with reservation, non-discrimination. Second half deals with reservation in education. Clear? Now coming to Article 16. So for a lot of you, Article 15 is of no consequence now. You have crossed Article 15, but Article 16 is now of importance because government jobs, right? So Article 16 is the article for public employment. Saptarshi, Saptarshi and Arun, MEI. So minority educational institution. I mean, there is no such definition, uh, but if you look at the National Commission for Minority Educational Institution Act, it says that a minority institution means a college or an institution other than a university established or maintained by a person, right, who belongs to the minority group. And here Minority means not the entire country. Minority means from the state. So, for example, if you go to, say, Nagaland, Hindus are in a minority. If you go to Punjab, Hindus are in a minority. If you go to UP, Muslims are in a minority. If you go to, say, Bihar, Christians are in a minority. So, minority here will not mean countrywide, it will mean statewide minority. Are we clear? That is called a minority educational institution, which is run by a minority in that state. Okay. Eman, EWS category is only meant for those people who are otherwise not covered under any reservation. So it cannot include scheduled caste people. Yes, Kambapati. Article 15, Clause 1 is available against the state. Clause 2 is available against other people. Nikhil, isn't it time government takes a comprehensive look on the list of OBC, SC, ST, literally the affluent sections are now asking for reservation? I can't make a statement on this dangerous topic to make a statement on. No, see, let's discuss that shortly. We'll come to it. Yes, yes, 10%. Okay, now Article 16. So, equality of opportunity in matters of public employment. When it comes to public employment, there'll be equality of opportunity, meaning there shall be equality of opportunity for all citizens. Again, this article is meant only for citizens. Remember, 15, 16, 19, 29, 30. In matters relating to employment or appointment to any office under the state. Okay. Now, second clause says no discrimination in matters of public employment, meaning in government jobs, no discrimination on the grounds only of same religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth. These five are there. Also descent and residence, where you reside. Okay. No discrimination on these grounds. What is descent? Descent means your origin, your background, your family nationality, your hereditary succession. That's called descent. Okay. So, on these grounds, you will not be facing any discrimination with respect to government jobs. So, do you observe residence is a criteria here? Is residence a criteria in for non-discrimination in schools? Tell me, is residence a criteria? No, it is not, right? Did you observe that in your college admissions, there were quotas fixed? People of Rajasthan 5 seats, Tamil Nadu 4 seats, Tripura 1 seat, Goa 2 seats, UP 10 seats. Remember this? In these IITs and ITs, quota is fixed from every state. So even if you get a very good rank and you belong to Rajasthan or Delhi or maybe Hyderabad and all, don't expect a very good college because most candidates appear from these states only, right? So in schools, the government can differentiate, can discriminate based on your place of residence. But in government jobs, that's not possible. However, the parliament is allowed to make laws. Parliament can make provisions for reservation based on residence in government jobs. Parliament can make laws. In fact, states like Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, Karnataka, Hyderabad region in the northeastern part of Karnataka, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Schedule 6 areas, you have reservation for localites, right? It's there. Parliament can do it. And one more point, just to clarify this, The reservation in jobs on the basis of residence. So we call this residence based reservation. That is not allowed. Let me just explain this point. Residence based reservation. This is not allowed as per Supreme Court. So back in 1984, there was a judgment which is called the Pradeep Jain case. In the Pradeep Jain case of 1984, Supreme Court has said that the policy of reserving jobs for locals is ultra vires the constitution. Policy of reserving jobs for locals is ultra vires the constitution. Ultra vires means beyond the scope of the constitution. Supreme Court has constantly followed this judgment, whether it is the Sunanda Reddy case of 1995 or the Kailash Chandra Verma case later on. Every time Supreme Court has said Pradeep Jain case holds valid. States have no power to make reservation in government jobs based on residence. Now, if you live in the state government cannot make reservation for you. How and what could be a possible way for the states to get around this? Tell me. If you are a state minister there and you want to play for vote bank politics and you want to give reservation to local people there, what will you do? To get around this, states use language. Language. You cannot make a law to provide for reservation based on residence. That will be declared violative of Article 16. But what I am doing is, I am conducting examinations for Group C jobs in Kerala. And I will say one additional paper in Malayalam. Take it. Language is not mentioned here. Language can be a criteria of discrimination. I am the Maharashtra government. I simply say to get a Group C or Group D job in Maharashtra, you have to be affluent in Marathi. Simple. Now, why will somebody who is from Assam speak Marathi? Right? Same goes for West Bengal. You have to be affluent in Bengali. So, why will a Tamilian speak Bengali? Automatically, I have segregated outsiders and given benefit to my people. Right? So, states use language as a criteria, fluency in language, additional language paper, language test, etc. And it's not wrong also because at the grassroots level, the we call them street level bureaucracy. At that level, it is very important to know the local language to perform day-to-day activities. It can be a challenge. That's there. Now, one more thing. You may have observed that some of these state governments try to make reservation in private sector for local people. That is also violative of the constitution. It violates article 19. It violates the fact that I am not being allowed to run my own profession or to carry on my occupation, trade, or business. So, Madhya Pradesh has tried it, 70% reservation in government jobs. Andhra Pradesh tried it, Karnataka tried it, Gujarat tried it, Maharashtra tried it, right? Various states have tried these things. Every time it has been cancelled. Are we clear? Recently, Haryana tried it. 75% jobs in the private sector. This matter is pending in the court. Though actually the High Court had given a judgment and cancelled it. But Supreme Court has put a stay order on the High Court judgment because Supreme Court said that High Court, your judgment does not give proper reasons. Principle of natural justice is getting violated. That is why the Punjab and Haryana High Court has to relook at this particular case and give judgment again. Are we clear? Everybody, somebody is asking. Gaurav, I think. Is your doubt okay now, Gaurav? Yes, such reservations violate Article 19, not 16, because 16 is only for government jobs. It violates Article 19. It interferes with an individual's right to practice their profession, occupation, trade, or business. Vanessa, which point? This residence-based reservation. Residence-based reservation will not be allowed, but some states get around this by giving reservation based on language knowledge. So if you have fluency in a language, you'll be allowed to get the government job. You are eligible, etc. Oh, various states have tried to provide reservation in the private sector, that all the private companies in my state, you have to mandatorily hire 70%, 75%, 80% local people in the lower level jobs. All cancelled. All cancelled. Okay. Uh, reservation also violates. No, Shilpa. Reservation is. Oh, okay. Shilpa, your question will be addressed very, very shortly. Zabir, you're also. Just wait now. We have just started the discussion. Let me firstly tell you what cannot be done. So these things can't be done, meaning there is complete equality with respect to government jobs. Are we all okay so far? Article 16, Clause 1, Clause 2, Clause 3 say that there is complete equality, no discrimination on religion, race, caste, sex, etc. Okay. But in the same article, right from the beginning of this constitution, there used to exist a clause 4. This clause 4 has not been added later on. This clause 4 is not some later addition. It was there as a part of the constitution originally. And what is that? It says state can make reservations in favor of backward classes. There is no definition here. The constitution just says backward classes if they are not adequately represented in government jobs. In the opinion of the state, if some group of people belonging to a class, a caste, etc., are not adequately represented in government jobs, meaning, let's say, there are 16% people in the country who are from the scheduled caste community, and in the government jobs, if they are only 5%, this would mean they are not adequately represented. So, if any group is not adequately represented, then the state can make reservations in favor of that group. This article is the article for reservation in public employment. Clear? So you can call it reservation. You can call it special provision. You can call it quotas. You can call it affirmative action. All things mean the same. Affirmative action is actually a term which was coined by the former US President John F. Kennedy. Okay, this means what? I'm saying that a former US president has coined this term. Means this affirmative action or reservation is there in USA also. Yes, it's there. It's there in Australia also. It's there in South Africa also. Reservation is not something unique to India. It exists world over. Are we clear? Now, we provide reservation to these categories of people. To the scheduled caste people, 15%. To the scheduled tribes people, 7.5%. To the socially and educationally backward classes, also called OBCs popularly, 27%. Economically weaker section since 2019, same Amendment Act, since 2019, 10%. And then beyond that, we also provide for reservation for persons with disabilities. This can vary depending on the jobs, etc. PWDs. This is the current reservation matrix at the central level. For states, you can have different reservations also, it's possible. But at the central level, this is a reservation matrix that you should know, including your examination UPSC. Why is this there? Because Article 16 Clause 4 allows for this. Did we understand? Everybody. Now comes the point, who is a scheduled caste person, who is a scheduled tribe person, who is an OBC, and how are they getting reservation? What is the criteria? So, firstly, let me just draw a line here. Now, see, as far as scheduled tribes are concerned, who are scheduled tribes? So, first things first, scheduled tribes are Indic people. Okay, meaning scheduled tribes cannot be from any other religion. So first point is, sorry, let's start with scheduled castes. My bad, scheduled castes. I by mistake said scheduled tribes. Scheduled castes. Let's start with scheduled castes, SC. And as I said, scheduled caste people have to belong to only three religions. You can be a Hindu, you can be a Sikh, or you can be a Buddhist. That's it. You cannot belong to any other religion. I mean, you can convert, no problem, but then you lose the benefit of benefit of the reservation for scheduled caste people. Now, this is mentioned under Article 341 of the Indian Constitution. President will create a list or publish the list. What's the list called? The list is called Constitution Scheduled Caste Order of 1950. This is the list wherein all the names of all the designated scheduled caste people have all the people of the castes, of all the people of the scheduled castes are mentioned in this list. Okay. Then, if at any point of time you want to modify this list, it's very simple to modify. Parliament can modify it. Meaning, Parliament can add or delete names. Clear? So we have only one list. We have only one list, which is what list? Constitution SC order list for center and states. Now comes the criteria. So, firstly, reason. Understand the reason for reservation. So, a very big misconception is that they are given reservation based on their economic criteria. No, no, no. Reservation for scheduled castes is done on the basis of historical injustice. Historical injustice. Now comes the criteria of identification. How to identify these communities. So for identification, very simple. We have not framed any criteria. Basically, this criteria has been framed by a very old committee called John Hutton Committee. John Henry Hutton Committee. This committee report, which came in 1933, this committee's John Henry Hutton was basically the census commissioner of the country. So basically, back in 1929, he was made the census commissioner. And he was given the charge, the task to do what? The task to create a caste census in the country. Caste census in the country. Now, once he created the caste census, he started listing the names of all the communities according to their caste. So, one group you will have all the Brahmins, then you will have all the Kshatriyas, etc. He found that there was a four-fold Varn system in the country. Are you aware of the Varn system? The four Varn: Brahmins, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Now, beyond this four-fold Varn system, there used to exist one more community. They were called excluded, or what he called them exterior castes. They were outside the Varn system. Now, how did you find them out? He found that these communities had been facing two problems. Problem number one was untouchability, and problem number two was denial of temple entry. Untouchability due to touch or even proximity. touch or proximity. These communities were treated as untouchables. And this concept of untouchability, the origin of this concept lies in the marriage system. So basically, the idea is very simple. If a boy of upper one marries a girl of upper one, no problem. If a boy of upper one marries a girl of lower one, it is okay. It is called anulom marriage, right? But all hell breaks loose if a boy of lower one marries a girl of upper one. That is called pratilom marriage. What is a pratilom marriage? Against nature. They call this against nature. And if you observe, even today this happens. A Brahmin boy marrying a Dalit girl, we don't see any news. Where is the news? There is no such news. But if a Dalit girl, a Dalit boy marries a Brahmin girl or any upper caste woman, then people go crazy that something wrong has happened. So, uh, these people were not even considered to be a part of the Varn system, and they historically were always sidelined. Sidelined. They were not allowed to enter the villages, etc., and were treated as untouchables. Various kinds of atrocities were committed on them. For example, in some areas, it was found that these people had to tie a broom around their waist, a broom. And when they used to walk on the road, it was supposedly understood that the broom was cleaning the street, because the untouchable, the scheduled caste person, had walked on the street and had polluted the entire street. So, what if an upper caste person steps on that? He gets polluted. That is why. Or in some areas, these people had to carry a pot, a vessel around their neck, tie it around their neck, and move here and there. Why? Because if the spit, saliva from this untouchable falls on the ground, the upper caste person, what if he steps on that? He'll get polluted. So God has told him to do all this, right? That's the beauty of God. God, God keeps on telling all the rich elite people to commit atrocities on the poor and the vulnerable sections, right? Anyway, so this was being done, and there are similar such practices across the country in various places. One such practice that was prevalent was in Tinnevali district. So Tinnevali, Tirunelveli, today's Tirunelveli, people of Tamil Nadu would know. So Britishers used to call it Tinne Valley. Uh, so in this Tinnevali, or currently Tirunelveli, there was a community called Purada Vannans. Puradavannan, Purada Vannans. This community was not even allowed to come out of their house or come out of their so-called caves during daytime. They used to live outside the village, and it was assumed that if the upper one people even saw them, they got polluted. Take bath again. So these people were not allowed to come out of their house during daytime, not for one day, for the entire lifetime, not for one family, for the entire community, not for 50, 60 years, for generations and generations. They faced this atrocity. So Hindu newspaper wrote this article mentioning that they were not allowed to come out during daytime because their sight is enough to cause pollution, and they have to leave their dens at dark and scuttle back home at the dawn like some badger, some rodent, some rats, mice. Come out in dark and go back home before the upper Varna people will see you, and they may get polluted. This is where Ambedkar had mentioned that no civilization can be guilty of a greater cruelty than this. Then, in the princely state of Travancore, this case came up, or this tax was imposed on the people of the lower one, the scheduled caste people. That is called a breast tax, mulakkaram. So the women of scheduled caste communities were not allowed to cover their breasts. So they had to pay some money to cover their breasts. The dignity comes at the cost of money. So the scheduled caste communities over generations had to purchase the bare minimum dignity that the upper one people have always had the right of naturally, and every human being should have the right of naturally, right? When uh, these dumps, the excreta dump was, the pit would be full. So in earlier days we did not have these functioning toilets and all, no sewage system. So basically there would be an area which would be covered from all four sides, enclosure, and a small pit was dug. You would go and take your nature's call there, and the excreta would collect in the pit inside the hole in the ground, and somebody had to every week or month get inside the pit, take out all the excreta, and throw it outside the village. Scheduled caste communities were forced into performing these activities, not for 1 year, not for 2 years, for thousands of years. And then, when handful of seats are reserved for kids from these communities, we go crazy that, oh, biasness. Where is the equality? Where is the merit criteria? Is this equality? The equality of opportunity is very important, right? The starting line has to be the same. You don't call them in your house, but when somebody dies, some animal dies, when you have to clean your latrines, then we need these people. Oh, come on, SC person, come, then clean. Otherwise, no. For over 2000 years, our community has faced this atrocity. And then we think that all will be okay with 30-40 seats being given for reservation, right? Out of 180 seats for IS officers every year, 15% is reserved. And the entire country goes crazy as if everybody would become an IS officer and cannot become an IS officer because of these 15% seats. And even today, have things changed? No. The forms have changed. The practice remains the same. In 2012-2014, Indian Human Development Survey was conducted, and it was found that around 30% people in the urban areas and 20% people in the rural, sorry, 30% in the rural areas and 20% urban areas still practice various forms of untouchability. People still don't allow scheduled caste person to enter their kitchen, use the utensil, right? When the maids are given different utensils to drink from, we talk about hygiene. Is it really hygiene? I mean, let's go to some PG where the people of upper Varna also living, and let's see their hygiene, how hygienic you are. Also, according to NCRB data 2021, there is a crime committed against a Dalit every 10 minutes. Every day, 10 Dalit women are raped. NCRB data from 2015 to 2020. And now some would say, sir, why especially quoting Dalit rapes? Because these are largely perpetrated on the basis of somebody belonging to the lower community. Even now, the Hindu upper caste families hold 41% of wealth of the country. On an average, they are 4 times as rich as a scheduled caste family. 4 times as rich, right? And not just this, not just this. There was a survey conducted a couple of years back, Social Attitudes Research India. A question was asked to people: should there be a law preventing high caste and low caste people from marrying each other? 27% men in Mumbai, financial capital. 27% people said yes, there should be a law to prevent marriages of intercaste people. In Delhi, 40% adults. In Rajasthan, 60% of the rural people said yes, there should be a law. Where has the equality come so far? No. Still, when a scheduled caste person sits on a mare, a female horse, a ghodi, to go for his wedding, women will sit on a dharna. How dare you sit on this horse? It is the right of only upper caste people. If a doctor who's a scheduled caste person, right, maybe a politician refuses to get treated by a scheduled caste doctor, imagine the level of mental agony and pain and trauma that the doctor has to undergo, right? See, we have to take into account the social realities. And the reservation for scheduled caste people is to undo centuries of discrimination and the prejudices suffered by the scheduled caste people. And a very simple point I'd like to make here is that if the benchmark of the so called efficiency is grounded in exclusion only, then the result is going to be a pattern of governance which will be skewed against the marginalized sections. That is what is going to happen. And this merit criteria is it's just a sham because it all depends on what data you use. I'll give you data for merit criteria. Stanford, AICTE, and the World Bank, they conducted a survey in 2018 in IITs and NITs for 45,453 students. It was found that the learning outcome of in the first year and third year students for SC/STs was far better than the other categories of students. So should we say that now they are more intelligent? No, they are the same. It's just the lack of opportunity that was there. We want to compete at the same level with all our benefits of educated parents who have never seen the atrocity that they have faced, who had never witnessed or seen the harassment that they have seen. And then we want the starting line to be the same. The line must be the same, definitely. Right? That's what we also want, equality of opportunity. So, this is with respect to reservation for scheduled caste people. And to just end on this note, that the Supreme Court said in 2019. So I may not be able to uh, verbatim quote it, but roughly the statement went like this only, that a meritorious candidate is not merely one who is talented or who is successful in scoring marks, but also one whose appointment fulfills the constitutional goal of uplifting the members of scheduled tribes and scheduled castes. So overall merit is very important, right? So that is there. And even then, it may be difficult for some of you to comprehend this. So for you, it's a very simple thing. There are just a handful of seats, and government can never be the primary employment provider. If in any country this happens, the country is doomed to fail. We need to have a proper private sector to provide for employment, and there is no reservation. So we don't see any problem if certain groups of people are given some reservation. As simple as that. And beyond this, one more thing, that's also true. When it comes to a scheduled caste person, you have an added responsibility. So, what has been happening, and that's true for every individual, why only SC person? That even among the scheduled caste people, there are some who are more aware. Now, they have been cornering all the benefits that are meant for every SC person. Now, if I'm an SC person, it is also my responsibility to ensure that there should be proper benefits that spread to my fraternity as well. Now, of course, I am not saying that just because of your economic situation, the stigma changes. No, it does not change. That is the point I'm trying to make, that OBCs and SCs have to be viewed differently, because the upliftment in the economic status does not take away the stigma from the scheduled caste person. So creamy layer criteria will not work in the SC reservation. but it should also be the duty of every SC person who has reaped the benefits of any such positive discrimination to ensure that their fraternity or within their fraternity the benefit goes far and wide. But we are all human beings, right? I don't see it happening that for other communities also, that we are more into spreading the benefits of government policy and schemes for other people. Every scheme is cornered by the elite in every group, and this is bound to happen in the future also. Anyway, Karan, Nanjali is dead. Huh, Nanjali is dead. So basically, just somebody is pointing out Mulakaram, the breast tax I was talking about. So basically, there's a legend, a story which goes around in Kerala that this lady Nanjali, she refused to uh, pay the tax, and when the king's men came to collect the tax, she chopped off her breasts and gave it on the plate, and she passed away. Now, this could be a story, this could be a legend, we don't know, but the tax was there. Even though modern day historians, right, like Manu S. Pillai, they deny this happening, or even some right wing historians deny this from happening. But they also agree that there was some tax regime, oppressive regime on the scheduled caste people. Actually, one interesting thing. Uh, a few classes back, I mentioned this story, and I mentioned a statement that modern day historians like Manu S. Pillai don't accept this mulakram. And I also said in the same flow, I said that plus some right wing historians, they also don't accept this. I in no way was equating Manu S. Pillai as a right wing historian. I have no interest in knowing what wing he belongs to, right? It is just a fact for me. Somebody was very upset that, sir, you are calling Manu S. Pillai as a right wing historian. I don't really care at all. And I don't think he should also care. But anyway, I'm still telling you, I'm just giving you various points of view. So even the current day historians don't find much evidence in that fact. And even the right wing historians don't find much evidence in the fact. But there, everybody believes this, that there was an oppressive tax regime uh, against the scheduled caste communities. Okay. Nikhil, but there seems to be a big loophole. We do provide reservation in education, Nikhil. That is not the point here. The point is awareness and empowerment. And most of it comes through there only. The family system, which teaches us all these things, the constant hatred spewed against these communities. So, if you have studied in a government school, a local school, scholarships come for kids from the SC community, and their names are called in the class, and fun is made. Oh, again, free money has come for these kids. Come on, collect your free money, living off freebies. Other kids are watching all this. They feel it's wrong. They don't know what comments these kids are facing on a daily basis, what comments their parents face on a daily basis. You grow up feeling, oh, see, government is only doing things for them. We are deprived, we are poor, but you have not lived a single day of their life or what they face. I mean, at this point of time, also, in a public place, any upper caste person, whether you believe in caste or not, you will not feel shy to claim your caste if somebody asks you. But for an SC/ST person, some of them may feel awkward. Why? There is a stigma still attached. Sadly, educated people also follow this. So it's more about awareness and proper empowerment, which can come only through job roles, positions of authority, and political power. Right? Education will always be there. We have to make them more aware. Right? Okay. Rather than illogical points, focus on what is being taught. Forget all this. Sure. Let's move on. One more thing now. No space. Let's come to see. I have no interest in changing your point of view, guys. It's okay. You are free to have your own notions. Who am I to change your notions? Right? Anyway, uh, It is just like, if you have not seen their life or not been an SC person, then you will never understand. If you have, you will understand. It's as simple as that. And it's okay. No problem. UPSC will not ask any question on whether reservation policy is right or wrong. So don't worry. Just know the facts. Move on. And ignore if anything hurts your emotions. Second is a scheduled tribe. Now, let me just clarify one thing here. Scheduled caste people belong to only Hindu, Buddhist, or Sikh. If at any point of time, if I'm a scheduled caste person and I belong to Hinduism, if I move out of Hinduism and become a Christian, I will lose all the benefits of SC category. Are we clear? So when you hear these words called Dalit Christian and all, they are calling themselves Dalit Christian. They are not getting any benefit. Are we clear? So please don't fall prey to all these words. These are just symbolic words. There is no benefit that you can get if you move out of the fold of Hinduism, Buddhism, or Sikhism. Simple. Clear? Okay. Now, scheduled tribes. Matlub, if you move out of these three religions, you lose the status of SC. That's it. You join a religion or don't join a religion. That does not matter. Scheduled tribes. Scheduled tribes are religion neutral. ST person can be in any religion. You can be a Hindu, you can be a Christian, you can be a Muslim, you can be a Sikh, etc. So this is religion neutral. Firstly, now this is under Article 342. Okay. Here also exact same provision. President is going to publish the list. And what is the list? Just the same list with a slight difference. Constitution, SC Order of 1950. This list was completed in 1958. So you may sometimes also read ST Order 1958. It's the same list. This also, the Parliament can make modifications. When it comes to modifications in this particular list, meaning adding names, deleting names can be done. And here, what's the criteria? Those communities which have been historically isolated and have been vulnerable. One more point. The identification for scheduled tribe is done by Anthropological Survey of India. Okay. So they do the identification, give suggestions, and then accordingly the center will categorize you as a scheduled tribe. Last category is the socially and educationally backward classes. These communities, also called the OBCs, they are also religion neutral. So OBC can be a Muslim also, Hindu also, no problem. Now, They are mentioned under Article 342 capital A. Okay. One more thing. Unlike the SC or ST, which the list of which is made by center only, the OBC list is made by center also and states also. So it may be possible that some of you here could be an OBC in your state, but not OBC in the country, or vice versa. Clear? So that is possible. So Article 342 capital A. Center and states prepare their own list. Okay. One more point I'd like to make here is the criteria. What is the criteria? Number one, low social position. What is the meaning of this? Government decides. Lack of general educational advancement. Number three, inadequate or no representation in government service. Inadequate representation in government jobs. And number four, inadequate representation in trade, commerce, and industry. These four criteria to identify the other backward classes which are constitutionally known as SEBCs, socially or educationally backward classes. Are we clear? Everyone? Any doubts? Okay, great, no doubt. Now see, originally we did not have the reservation for OBCs. In 1953, a commission was set up called the First Backward Classes Commission. 1953. This commission was chaired by Kaka Kalelkar. Okay. Now, this Kaka Kalelkar commission stated that we need to have some reservation for OBCs. But this commission's recommendation was not accepted and nothing happened. So, just to mention here, the first backward classes commission was set up 1953 to 55. Okay. Kaka Kalelkar was the chairperson. Then in comes the Janta Dal, the Janta Party rather, which won the elections post emergency. Janta Party was largely a group of 5 parties plus CFD, and they're all socialist parties which derived their vote bank from the OBC community. So they wanted to work for their upliftment or for vote bank, that's best left for them to decide. But yes, it was of course a very important element that OBCs are a very huge population. Even the Hutton committee says that the OBC community is roughly 52 to 55%. The National Sample Survey Organization also says that in our country, more than half the people, almost 55% people, belong to OBCs. So they need to be adequately represented in government jobs. So a Mandal Commission, or rather the Second Backward Classes Commission, was formed in 1979 when Janata Party was in power, chaired by the former CM of Bihar, BP Mandal. This person is BP Mandal. Okay. This commission was appointed in 1979. It gave its report in 1980 and said that there should be reservation of 27% for OBCs in government jobs. A very peculiar statement, 27%. Why 27%? Because in the one Bharat Shah case in 1964, sometimes also mentioned a 1963 case, the Supreme Court had said that reservation should not cross 50%. That is why they had limited to 50% only. Clear? Twenty-two point five, 27, 49.5. So in 1963-64, in one Bharat Shah judgment, Supreme Court had clarified that reservation should be an exception. So exception cannot be more than half. If the exception is more than half, it becomes a norm only. It should be less than half. Fair enough. Done. But the Janata Party collapsed, and the Mandal Commission report could never see the light of the day. Then in 1990, when the VP Singh government came to power, then they implemented the Mandal Commission recommendations and provided for 27% seats to be reserved for OBCs in the government jobs. Are we clear on this? This reservation was made and was later on challenged in the Supreme Court in the landmark Indira Sahni case. Indira Sahni judgment, Indira Sahni is the name of the lawyer. Indira Sahni case 1992, also called the Mandal case. Now see, this reservation for OBCs and in general also has received a lot of backlash, and there are reasons for it. See, firstly, a very important element to understand is the mindset of people. So, why is education and awareness more important, right, amongst people? Not just literacy levels, education. It's more important because the way you express, the way you conduct yourself reveals who you are as a person. Now, the idea being that uh, we have certainly come into this zone where point of view is very important. Facts, not important. Point of view is important. No, if your point of view is wrong, it is wrong. And people reflect their mentality when they make statements or through their actions. For example, if I come here and say, or anyone comes and says that, see, I'm, I have done an intercaste marriage. I don't believe in caste. We should tell them, sir, ma'am, the moment you say that you are in an intercaste marriage, you believe in caste. You just want to show off that I was okay to marry somebody who was of a different caste than me, because it's not an intercaste marriage, it's just a marriage. Similarly, how you protest also reflects what you are thinking. So when this OBC reservation came into picture in 1990s, lot of these kids from upper caste communities, they would go to Delhi and protest. And how to protest? They would carry brooms in their hand, broom, and sweep the street as a mark of protest. The idea being that, see, if you give those communities our jobs, then we'll have to do their jobs. Because upper Varna people, you have a natural right, godly given right to work in group A jobs only. Lower Varna people can do other menial jobs. You will do only a top job, right? That is why till recently, at least until the last 20 decades, 20 years before, 90% of Group D employees, Safai Karmchari, peon, Daftari, messenger, were SC/STs. Now it has come down because government salaries have increased. The same kind of protest was seen in 2005 also, when the reservations were being brought into IITs and IIMs. What happened? So what happened was that all these parents brought their kids to Delhi, made them sit with a shoe brush, shoe polish, and photographed them polishing shoes. Why? If that kid goes to IIT, then our kid will have to do that kid's job. That's the mentality. Sadly, this is what people from a certain community and section think of what is the right place of a community, right? So they have to be shown their place. Remember these statements when people make these statements? Women have to be shown their place. SC/ST has to be shown his place. Same thing. But yes, why did reservation also backfire is because of some politicians who tried to make it sound like some kind of revenge, which is very sad. The idea was to provide for equality of opportunity, but our politicians completely muddled that up. And there were these slogans which used to run Mandal versus Kamandal. So, Kamandal is basically a utensil which the Brahmins used to keep their holy water, Ganga water, Ganges water. So, Ganga water was kept in the Kamandal. Mandal is a response to Kamandal. No, no, no. It is not a response to anything. It is a response to historical injustice and the poverty situations, lack of representation for larger communities. That's it. It is a response to ensure equality in society. That's it. Don't make it seem like it's a revenge. Or there are these politicians, I would not name those politicians. These politicians used to make statements in open public that for centuries our women used to work in these people's farms, being harassed by them. Now the time has come that our men will get the chance to do the same. Is this what you are getting the job for? Is this what reservation is for? Is this what you're telling the people? This is your mentality, right? So we sometimes will be amazed at what statements our politicians make in open rallies to please the people. I mean, they can say anything. And the leader in question who made the statement had daughters. So at least have the courtesy of showing dignity, respect to your own kids. Sadly, maybe they don't understand either dignity or respect. Anyway, now when this particular judgment came out, Supreme Court accepted this fact that reservation of 27% for OBCs is okay. So the reservation was upheld, but Supreme Court gave some guidelines. Guideline number one, and largely the biggest misunderstood guideline, is the first one. Supreme Court said that quota should not cross 50%. But wait. Supreme Court also said that if it crosses 50%, then Supreme Court can review it. Are we clear? Please don't have this misconception that quotas cannot cross 50%. They can. Supreme Court has said it that it can, it's possible. But the condition is that below 50%, no problem. But the moment you make reservation more than 50%, we will check whether it is justified or not. So it can cross with a caveat attached that if you cross, then we will judicially review the reservation policy. Second, identification of the backward communities has to be subject to judicial review. So you must have seen in the recent times also, a very good example is of Marathas in Maharashtra, where the Maharashtra government did categorize them as OBCs, but Supreme Court cancelled the reservation. So now, if you are going to identify any group as a backward community, Supreme Court can check whether they actually meet the criteria of backwardness or not. Clear? Then exclude the creamy layer. What is this creamy layer? So creamy layer refers to, like, creamy layer. What is cream? Milk, and the cream floats on top of milk. So creamy layer is the socially advanced communities, the elite group, creamy layer. Now, when it comes to the creamy layer, Supreme Court said that, see, as far as OBCs are concerned, if you have a changed economic status, etc., you are no longer backward. So here we should have that exclusion criteria also, that some people, if they are of a very high economic status, they should not be given the benefit of reservation. So, for example, here, Supreme Court said that we should create a committee, and the committee should give recommendations on what should be the parameters which will exclude an OBC person from getting the benefit of reservation. So there was a Justice Ram Nandan Prasad committee. This Justice R.N. Prasad committee report suggested that, or rather submitted that, and this work towards the identification of what? Creamy layer. This commission gave its report in the year 1993, 10th of March. This is a criteria for creamy layer. Children of the following categories of people belong to creamy layer and will not get the quota benefit. You don't have to mug up all this, not important. People holding important posts like that of President of India, etc. Group A, Group B officers, their kids. People in the same rank in the armed forces. Then professions like doctors, lawyers, etc. People engaged in business, trade, industry, etc. People holding land above a certain limit. And persons having gross annual income of 8 lakh rupees. Gross annual income of 8 lakh rupees or above, creamy layer. This is all set to increase now to 12 lakhs. Some groups are saying make it 12 lakhs. Some are saying make it 15 lakhs. Make it 1 crore only. Cover everybody, the entire country. What is the concept of a creamy layer then? Wait, we are not USA. We are not UK and Sweden. The purchasing power parity in India is very low. 8 lakh rupees is not earned by a family which is suffering by any means. We're not saying they're ultra rich. We're not saying they're comfortable, but they're not suffering. So a very large group of people get covered actually. More than 80% population gets covered. That's a problem, right? So in that large group, the real people who are the real needy, they will never be able to compete with the ones who are earning 7-8 lakh rupees. And you'll realize that largely it's these people who are getting the entry in the EWS category. But anyway, that's again a subject of discussion in the parliament. The economic criteria of 8 lakhs. So this is there. Uh, then we have some other provisions. Should we take a break? What do you suggest, guys? Nice sleep. Everybody's sleeping. No response only. Okay, let's take a break. Let's take a break. Be back at 4 o'clock and we'll continue our discussion further. Quick small break. Just wash your face, have some tea, and come back. Okay. Break, please, guys. Let's continue. Arun, it's not place, it's place of birth. Place of birth. Uh, Kamapati. So the name simply came because there was no common name. So how did we start calling them scheduled castes? Why scheduled? Scheduled refers to a list. So in that particular column, the Hutton committee was putting in names of all those communities which were not given any proper name because they were not a part of one system. So he called them the exterior classes or castes or depressed classes or the schedule of such castes list, and hence scheduled castes. That's it. Anjali, sir, in Dandi March, Gandhi say no to women to attend march. Is it not discrimination? Madam, it was before the constitution was implemented. And I think this is best left for history classes, where history faculty will tell you that Gandhi ji largely said that women could contribute more to nation building if they were a part of, if they would be uh, serving or raising the kids and being a part of the family. Now, I cannot ascribe to Gandhi's notions here, but that's what he said. Anyway, this is beyond the purview of our discussion. Best left for history. Okay. Now, coming to the last 2 points. Article 16, Clause 4. What is this article? Please tell me, innocent aspirants. Wake up from slumber and sleep. Tell me, what is Article 16, Clause 4? Article 16, Clause 4 is the reservation in government jobs. This is the article which provides for reservation in government jobs. Clear? Everyone? Yes, no, nothing. Okay. So, Article 16, Clause 4, Supreme Court says, should be read with Article 335. Now, what is Article 335? Article 335 is this. Don't read this statement. Just read this for now. The claims of members of SCs and STs shall be taken into consideration consistently with the maintenance of efficiency of administration in making of appointments to services and posts in connection with the affairs of union or the state. Meaning, this provision says that SC/ST reservation will be provided, don't worry, but it cannot compromise with the efficiency of administration. This should not compromise the quality of administration. Meaning, just because I have to provide reservation, I should not hire any random person. Hire only those people who would be fit to be a part of this administrative structure. Clear? But this proviso was added by the parliament via the 82nd Amendment Act of the year 2000, where the government said, or the parliament said, that we don't care. Nothing in this article shall prevent in making any provision in favor of members of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes for relaxation in the qualifying marks or lowering the standards of evaluation. While providing jobs for SC/STs, we can lower the standards of evaluation. We can also relax the qualifying marks. Simple. Are we clear? We want to provide reservation. For that, we can reduce the cutoff also. We can make the evaluation standards simple also. We have to provide for reservation. So Supreme Court had said that please maintain this, but Parliament said no, 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 that is not important. And also, to be very frank, what is the meaning of efficiency of administration? It is not defined anywhere. how do you measure efficiency in administration? When almost every officer is getting outstanding performance in their annual reports, where is the efficiency maintenance? So it's a very big challenge to measure this criteria. Anyway, now one more thing, reservation should be confined to initial recruitment only. How many of you feel that there should be no reservation in promotion? A for yes, B for no. How many of you feel that there should be no reservation in promotion? For SC/ST only, not for OBCs. A, no reservation in promotion. B, there should be reservation in promotion also. No right or wrong answer. Anything? What do you feel like? Okay. As I said, no right or wrong. It's just a perspective of yours. Supreme Court also said the same thing. Supreme Court said quotas should be confined only to initial recruitment. No reservation in promotion. Okay. But what happened? Government of India or rather Parliament amended Article 16 and added Article 16 clause 4A. This clause is a clause for reservation in promotion. Are we clear? So reservation in promotion, but only for SC/STs, mind you, not for others, is there in our country through this Article 16 clause 4A. So just to help you understand, very simple. Say you are a scheduled caste person and somebody is from the open category, unreserved category. Now we draw the line of entry. Let us take the IS officer level only. So you become the under secretary, you become the deputy secretary, joint secretary, additional secretary, and then secretary. Same here, under secretary, deputy secretary, joint secretary, additional secretary, and secretary. Now, if you provide reservation here, this means we are ensuring equality of opportunity. But if you provide reservation in promotion, Supreme Court said that you are trying to ensure equality of outcome. The ultimate result has to be the same. Now, that is not something we can guarantee. The court said that it is not your task to ensure that every SC person who enters the job becomes a secretary only. Now, that depends on their interest also, their skill level also, their learning curve also, their age also, how they have been performing their tasks also. So many variables are there. We can't guarantee that everybody will get to the top. It's largely dependent on multiple factors. So reservation here, not here. But the parliament said no, we'll provide for reservation in promotion also. Now some of you may say, sir, this is the real cause, heartburn cause. Why reservation here? I'll give you some data. Data is of grave importance, facts, and sadly facts don't care about feelings. So in the year 2019, in the government of India, there were 82 government of India secretaries. 82. Now, at the entry level, how many people enter? Out of every 100 people, 15 SCs enter, around 7 to 8 STs enter, around 27 OBCs enter. This means out of 82 Government of India secretaries, almost 22-23%, almost 20-23% must have been SC/STs. That would mean roughly 20, 19, 20. 4 belong to SC/ST community. Now you may say, sir, what if they got retired beforehand only, etc.? Okay. One more data. Out of 457 secretaries, additional secretaries, and joint secretaries, only 12% were SCs or OBCs. Collectively, SCs and OBCs who enter the system are 42%, 27% OBCs, 15% SCs. That makes it 42% at the entry level, but only 12% reached till here. How is this happening? So there's an allegation that there has been a systemic denial in the promotion with respect to the jobs. Sir, Akash, what if they are not having true potential for promotion? Uh, True potential for promotion. I'll answer this question through two examples. Number one, firstly, how do you measure true potential? Do you measure it through the marks that somebody scored in their examination? Will that be a sufficient metric? What do you say? Some of you may say, yes, sir, marks are a very, very appropriate metric because if somebody has scored very good marks to enter the job, then of course I would agree that this person could perform very well. Fair enough. That is actually possible. Okay. So if you ever get a chance to look at the cutoff in the examination, the cutoff with respect to general category was 748 marks last year only. 748 marks out of 1750 in the mains. For the SC/ST, it was 700 marks, 699. 40 marks difference. Not a huge difference. It's not that any random SC/ST person is getting selected, right? For OBC, it was 714 marks. So for a general category person, the cutoff was 42%. For SC/ST, it was how much? 699 out of 1750. 94. 39.94%. That's difference, 3% marks. Now you may say, sir, what about performance in the government job? That's the real test. Okay. So to check whether somebody is performing well in their government jobs or not, what parameter do we have? We have your annual appraisal report. In the annual appraisal report, you'll be surprised to find that 98% of the officers get an outstanding performance rating. Now, where is the problem? 98% of the civil servants amongst IAS officers get outstanding rating in their appraisal report. So, where is the potential now, or lack of potential thereof? Everybody is getting outstanding performance rating, right? In fact, there have been sociological studies conducted. I'll give you one such example of one data that in the various railway zones, it was found that in those railway zones where the DRM was a scheduled caste person, there were lesser accidents happening, rail accidents. There's data like this also. So performance at that level for every person is largely the same. You may not be able to distinguish truly, right? So again, this is nothing but a systemic denial. That's why I said it's all about facts, right? Till we don't know the facts, we'll always muddle and mix the reality, and we'll try to ignore the existence of certain challenges. Anyway, when this reservation in promotion was made, it was challenged in the Supreme Court. In the Nagraj case, Supreme Court said Firstly, a very important statement, that state is not bound to make reservation for in promotions. But if you want to make reservation in promotion, three things have to be checked. Number one, again the Supreme Court reiterated, please keep a check on whether the administrative efficiency is being maintained or not. Don't promote any random person. Number one. Number two, cadre-wise representation of SC/ST in government departments. Please make sure that you have data that at every level there are almost 15% SCs there. If there are 15% SCs amongst joint secretaries, there is no need to promote people here. Not required. Right? So there should be that as well. And third, ask the SC/ST to prove the current backwardness. Current backwardness. What is the criteria on which the SC/ST gets reservation? Historical injustice of untouchability or denial of temple entry. Now, please tell me, uh, an IS officer, an IPS officer, will he face the same typical untouchability? Is it possible for a common man to practice untouchability against a designated government official? Of course not. How dare you? But there are very subtle ways to show this. For example, you're eating with everybody, tiffin food is being exchanged, nobody eats from your tiffin. They make it a point to find some excuse not to eat from your tiffin. Don't you think the SC person knows this nonsense you're doing? Right? The idea is that you cannot always show this. What do you want? That the SC person should carry a camera around everywhere and always prove this. So, women in this class will understand this point I'm trying to make now. Women always make the statement that when we go out on the road, people stare at us, making us uncomfortable. Now, as a man, and for other guys also, it is impossible for us to truly understand it. We may empathize that it may happen, but to understand what those uncomfortable stares and glances are, we have never faced that. We can never know that. Simple. Similarly, a non-SC/ST person will never be able to understand what are those subtle nuances, the hints that people give to reflect their mindset against an SC person. Only an SC person can understand it. If you have felt it, if you have faced it, you know it. It's as simple as it. Asking somebody to prove their backwardness, it's just like asking a woman to prove that, oh, come on, prove that he was making you uncomfortable by staring at you. No, some things cannot always be proved. I cannot carry a camera around to take a photo or a video of how somebody was trying to treat me or trying to, showcase in any manner my caste. That's there. But anyway, later on, in the Jarnail Singh judgment, after almost 11, 12 years, Supreme Court rectified its old judgment and said, it's okay, it's okay. There is no need to prove this. This has been removed. So thankfully, better sense prevailed in the Supreme Court and they removed this criteria. But they have added one more criteria now. That's a creamy layer criteria in SC/ST. Now, this creamy layer is not the income creamy layer. It's something different. I'll explain how. Let us say there are two ST persons, scheduled tribe people. One is from the Topo community. The other is from the Murmu community. Two people who are both scheduled tribes. These are various scheduled tribe communities. A Topo community person, he is also an SP in the police service. He is also an SP in the police service. Both are scheduled tribe people. Clear so far? Now, we want to give reservation and promotion to scheduled tribes. So the Supreme Court said that the creamy layer of an SC/ST cannot avail reservation in promotion. Meaning what? Next level of promotion, let's assume is DIG. Because in some states you don't have SSP, let's assume the next stage is DIG. We want to give promotion to STs in case of making them DIGs. I have to collect data. Amongst all the DIGs, please find out How many topos are DIGs? How many Murmu people are DIGs? If 5 topos are DIGs and 2 Murmus are DIGs, please tell me which person should be given the benefit of reservation in promotion. Tell me. Of course, that person whose community is not adequately represented. Simple. So we are going to create a sort of reservation within reservation. Okay. So this is a creamy layer kind of criteria where the ones who are adequately represented, they may be excluded from the benefit of reservation in promotion. This is what continues even now. Are we clear? Done. We are done with the reservation policy and the reservation. And just to summarize one more thing, where I would like to make a couple of points here. Reservation is not your fundamental right. Okay, please understand this point. Reservation, both the articles, be it reservation or reservation in promotion, you cannot claim anything. The state may provide for it, the state may not provide for it. What is your right? What is your right? Your right is non-discrimination. Reservation is an exception. It is an exception to fundamental rights. Reservation is a positive discrimination. Reservation is an enabling provision. Please don't think of it as some kind of fundamental right. Always remember, what is your right? The right is non-discrimination. Reservation is discrimination. So it is an exception which is allowed because rights are not absolute. Okay, that's it. State is not bound to make reservation for SC/ST in matters of promotion. However, if they wish to exercise their discretion and make such provision, then the state has to collect quantifiable data. Without data, please don't give any reservation to anybody. Collect data to showcase that that community is not getting the benefit or is not adequately represented. Then only give the reservation. Okay. Uh, Senthil, for next promotion, who get? Senthil, for every level, we have to find out. We have to find out which community is adequately represented and which is not. Which is not represented will give promotions to those people from that community only. Clear? If it is same, what happens? So if it is exactly the same, then we'll give an equal opportunity. Both will get the benefit. If there is only one seat, we'll keep it open. Whoever wants can come. Clear? Zabir, horizontal and vertical. Sir, vertical reservation is basically the idea where there is no vertical reservation, right? It can be discrimination. What is vertical reservation? Horizontal reservation would or means a concept where there is reservation inside reservation within the same community. I mentioned this example in your panchayat chapter also, that when you are saying 1/3 women seats are reserved, within that reservation, some percentage has to go to SC women, some percentage to ST women, right? Or for example, here, when it comes to uh, person with disabilities, let's say 3% or 4% seats are reserved for person with disabilities. Within that disability group, 1% will seats belong to those people who are visually handicapped. 1% would belong to those who have locomotor disability, meaning movement disability, etc. Reservation inside reservation for the same group. That is called horizontal reservation. Are you clear, Zabir? Okay. Hopefully it is clear. So this is it. And lastly, I think you know this also, 103rd Amendment Act. the EWS category, economically weaker section reservation is available. Clear? Done with Article 16. Solve this question came in 2023. For the first time, UPSC asked a question on reservation. Interesting, right? This was for the first time ever. Or not just reservation, but on information, on a fact. It is not some opinion. Don't be nervous. It's just a fact, factual information. Okay. Simple, straightforward question. Article 335 defines the term efficiency of administration. Please tell me where this term is defined. Is it defined anywhere in the article? Tell me yes or no. Not defined. Are we clear? Everybody, this statement is wrong. If this is wrong, statement 2 is not correct. Statement 2 is not correct. Statement 2 is not correct. Statement 2 is incorrect. So C has to be the answer. Simple. Statement 1. The Supreme Court of India has held in some judgments, what Indira Sani case only, that reservation policies made under Article 16 Clause 4 would be limited by Article 335 for maintenance of efficiency of administration. So we just saw that Article 16 Clause 4 should be read with Article 335, meaning ensure that the quality of administration is not compromised. Basically, it means that don't hire any random person. Please hire those people who will be able to man the task properly. Okay? Are we clear, Pooja? You also. This is what we can estimate. There is no categorical, quantifiable method to check for it. But the idea being that we need to ensure that the quality of government services should not come down just because of hiring people who may not be fit to be a part of the job. Clear? Okay. Now, coming to Article 17. We are, mind you, still under right to equality. Okay, 14 to 18. Now we're under Article 17. Article 17 is abolition of untouchability. One more thing. Uh, Sometimes you'll find that some people or somewhere they will mention this right is absolute. It is very stupid to say, make a statement. Rights are never absolute. Never absolute. How can your right ever be absolute? Like for Article 17, people keep on saying, in books also you'll find it. Article 17, the right is absolute. No. If you say Article 17 absolute, I'll agree. But don't say this right is absolute, because Article 17 does not give you any right. It actually creates a limitation. So Article 17 is not a right. It is a limitation. Limitation imposed on people. What you cannot do. Are we clear on this? So, abolition of untouchability. Untouchability is abolished and its practice in any form is forbidden. So, this is the absolute nature of it. No no exception. This concept of untouchability and its practice is forbidden. This is absolute. Okay? There is no exception, no reason where you will say that, oh, but in that case, you can practice it. No, 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 no. In no case can you practice it. Like for other articles, exceptions are there. For this article, there is no exception. So in that sense, it's absolute. But this is not a right given to anybody. This is a restriction on people. So untouchability is abolished and its practice in any form is forbidden. The enforcement of any disability, if you place any limitation on people because of untouchability, it shall be an offense punishable in accordance with law. Nothing is mentioned in the constitution. What kind of offense, what kind of law? Silent. So wherever you find these kind of words, where the article in itself is incomplete, the point to be noted here is that such articles are a very good example of what we know as a self-executory article. Sorry, non-self-executory article. These articles on their own have no meaning. If I say, don't kill anybody, killing is wrong, killing is banned. What if you kill? If you kill, punishment. That completes the article. Without punishment, even if you kill, what happens? So when I say untouchability is banned, it's abolished, will not make it happen. When you are saying it will be punishable with law, where is the law? So this is an example of a non-self-executory provision, meaning this article on its own is incomplete. It requires a law to be made to fulfill the objective of the article. Are we clear on this point? A law has to be made, only then can we categorically say that now if you practice it, this is a law to punish. So is there a law? Yes, there is a law. The law is called PCRA, Protection of Civil Rights Act. Okay, it was originally called the Untouchability Offences Act. It was renamed in which year? It was renamed in 1976 and is now called PCRA. So one more thing, what is untouchability? This definition is not mentioned in the Constitution. Untouchability as a word is not defined in the Constitution. A practice largely amongst Hindus which looks down upon members of certain classes solely on the account of their birth. This is a very generic kind of definition, very standard kind of definition, which has come through some court judgments, but we cannot claim this as a definition mentioned in the Constitution. There is no such definition of untouchability. It is largely understood as a practice amongst the Hindus, and Hindus here mean Hindus, Sikh, and Buddhists. Clear? Akash, if a person has been infected with chicken pox and I want to avoid proximity, no, it is not. Right? Epidemic Diseases Act and all these things are there which prevent such things from happening. Right? So if somebody comes and says, I want to hug you, come on. And you said, oh, come on, please get lost. That's not untouchability. Right? If the person goes to court to file a complaint against you, the person in all likelihood is going to get punished by court, penalized. That you have come for filing a wrong case, wasting our time, impose fine, 50,000 rupees fine. So please, people here, don't go and file a case if somebody refuses to hug you or shake hands with you. It would be more appropriate to regularly take bath, right, and have a proper social distancing norms maintained in life. Simple. Are we clear? Okay. Now see, this idea of people uh, facing this kind of discrimination just because they are born in some community, that actually is not just native to India. No, I'm not trying to justify this point that see others are doing it, so we are doing it. But I'm just trying to give you a parallel that in other countries also such abhorrent practice used to exist, sadly. So we are not some country, the lone country where this used to happen. If you ever go to Japan, in Japan there's a community, Burakumins. They used to face the same kind of atrocity. Or in Korea, Baekjeongs, the meat people working in the meat industry, Baekjeongs, or Ragyappas. Ragyappas are people in Tibet who have faced this kind of discrimination, or Cagots in western France and northern Spain. So these people who were involved in toddy making. What is toddy? Desi liquor making. Kamapati, it was, these are historical things, right? So North and South is a 1953 phenomena. So these are historical problems. So of course, in both North and South Korea. So, but I don't know currently in North Korea if they're facing the same problem or not, because nobody knows what happens in North Korea remains in North Korea. Okay. So as we saw, there is a law, and what's this law all about? The law punishes for certain acts which are seen as offenses of untouchability. What can be an offense of untouchability? Enforcing religious disability, meaning if you prevent entry of people in the place of worship, that is called enforcing a religious limitation. Enforcing social disability, if you prevent a SC person from opening any kind of shop, etc., you will say, oh, SC person, you cannot open a shop to sell uh, goods used for worshipping gods. Sorry, you can't. This is called a social disability. Refusing to admit person to hospitals, etc., based on their SC status. Refusing to sell goods or render services based on their SC status. And inciting or encouraging the practice of untouchability, meaning when you are preaching untouchability, you're trying to justify untouchability on philosophical grounds, moral grounds, religious grounds, etc. That's all called untouchability. See, understand this point here. Just because, let's say, you are an SC person and I call you a scheduled caste person, that is not demonizing somebody. Are you clear? There should be an intent on my side to deliberately demonize you for belonging to the SC community. Are you clear? Just because you call me that, okay, let's say I'm an SC person and you call me a scheduled caste person, that will not be violation of any kind of law. Clear? That's stating facts. Stating facts is not a violation of any law. Now, what is the punishment? If you practice untouchability, what is the punishment? Long term jail, 6 months of jail, or a huge fine of 500 rupees, or both. But yes, one more thing, for repeat offenders the punishment can be up to 2 years of jail also. Clear? One more punishment, disqualification from contesting elections. What is this? Which section, which law, how many years? Tell me quickly, all in one statement. Which law, which section, how many years of disqualification? Please write all these three answers in one statement and type it. And did you understand my instruction? Which section, which law, how many years? Which subsection also? Which subsection? Only two answers. Akash and Khambapati. The only two people to answer this. While I was teaching RPA, I requested you guys that these sections are important. UPSC has asked questions 3 to 4 times from these sections. Still, this is a situation. So that section is important. Now, if you message me after 2 minutes, then I will not trust you, right? That this could possibly be Googled information. Section 8, subsection 1 of RPA 1951. For jail term plus 6 years. Are we clear? Guys, please revise. This is not correct. These are the basic provisions from a UPSC asking questions. You are investing time into doing research on multiple things, but not those areas where UPSC is asking questions. I mean, after all, you have to be a civil servant first. So all your points of view, all your passion, enthusiasm to improve the country, to serve the nation, will all be kept waiting, simmering in your heart if you can't clear the examination. So rather than being a crusader and activist, firstly prepare for the exam and then enter the job and then make changes there. Okay? So you are preparing for the examination, not some random fact collection happening here. Then, normally we have also this idea, this belief that it's always innocent till proven guilty concept. You will always be treated as an innocent person till proven guilty, right? In this case, it is not the same. A section 12 of this law says that the court will work on the presumption of guilt. You are assumed to be guilty. You have to prove that you have not committed the act of untouchability. Are we clear? So this is guilty till proved innocent. And mind you, the offense is cognizable. What is a cognizable offense? Such offenses are ones where there is a possibility of arrest without a warrant also. You can directly be arrested. No need for a warrant and all. And it's a non-compoundable offenses. Firstly, tell me what is a compoundable offense? Tell me, what's a compoundable offense? Okay. Petty offenses, small offenses, where out of court settlement is possible. Remember Lok Adalats. We had mentioned this word. Non-compoundable offense means a serious offense, okay, where no out of court settlement is possible. Matter must go to court. Are we clear? These are no serious offenses, not petty or small offenses. So this is the PCRA 1955. So there is one more law in our country which is not to punish for untouchability, but this law is meant for preventing atrocities from being committed against both SCs and STs. PCRA is only meant for scheduled caste people and for untouchability. But SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act is meant for preventing atrocities being committed against SC/STs. So this act lists various offenses that can be considered atrocities against SCs and STs, such as forced labor, sexual exploitation, etc. So basically, there's a section 3 in the law which says that there are 30 different types of atrocities. For example, if you occupy SC/ST land, that's called an atrocity. If you assault an SC/ST, atrocity. If you physically uh, assault is okay. If you publicly humiliate SC/ST, atrocity. If you force an SC/ST person to eat something obnoxious and dirty, atrocity. If you try to dump some dirty material, excreta, any obnoxious material in an SC/ST person's house, atrocity. Okay, if you throw the garbage in SC/ST person's house, you can be booked under this law. Then, garlanding an SC/ST person with chappals, footwear, atrocity. 30 different types of atrocities are defined, and the punishment can range from 6 months to 5 years in general, sometimes life imprisonment, sometimes death sentence also. For example, if you act as a witness against an SC person or an ST person and give false evidence witness against an SC person, and the result of your false testimony, the person ends up getting a life imprisonment, you can also be given life imprisonment if found guilty. Or if you become a witness and give some statement against SC or ST person, and the result of your false statement is a death sentence to SC or ST person, you can also be given death sentence. This law provides for even death sentence as an option. Then their special courts are set up for the trials of these matters. And here, automatic arrests are allowed. There is no need for approval from a judicial magistrate or FIR, not required. When an SC/ST person comes and complains to the police can directly come and arrest you. Direct arrest allowed. No need for any kind of inquiry and all this nonsense. Very harsh provisions. Very, very harsh. Right? In fact, if you are a public servant, of course, a non-SC/ST public servant, and you have failed to perform your obligations or duties towards a SC/ST person, you can be jailed from 6 months to 1 year. Are we clear? So if you're, say, a police officer and an SC person comes and asks you, please register my complaint, and you refuse to do it, you can be punished with a jail sentence of minimum 6 months, maximum 1 year. This is how strict this law is. Now, automatic arrests without FIR, prone to misuse, false complaints, possible, right? It's always possible. People may misuse the law. So in 2018, Supreme Court gave a judgment. Subhash Mahajan case. Supreme Court said no automatic FIR or arrest. Firstly, when somebody, if SC/ST person comes to police and complains, police, you conduct inquiry first. That's the first step. Conduct inquiry. Find out whether the allegation is true or false. Then take the written permission of a gazetted officer, DSP or an SP, and then go for arrests. Judgment was made. When this judgment was made, it led to a lot of hue and cry in the country. A lot of SC/ST groups came forward and said that this is diluting the law. Now SC/STs will never get the justice, etc. So the government amended the law, added section 18A, and said that whatever Supreme Court has said is all nonsense. The original provisions are restored, meaning direct arrests allowed. Later on, in October 2019, the Supreme Court cancelled the Subhash Mahajan judgment, and finally, formally, the Supreme Court also accepted the government's change, and we have gone back to the original system where direct arrests are allowed. There is no need to write an FIR, get permission from anybody. The police can directly come and arrest you. It is very much possible. See, I fully agree here that there is a possibility of misuse. But the problem is that there is lack of substantial data or evidence to prove the percentage of misuse. If it is happening in 4 5% cases, then we cannot modify the law. If it happens in 20 30% cases, then we have to check the law. So as of now, and that's what Supreme Court also said, that there is no data to say to what extent is this being misused. That is always going to be a catch. So see, we can make all the laws on the planet, but ultimately an individual's goodwill is what is required. You have to depend on the goodwill of an individual to not misuse a provision, right? So we cannot have checks everywhere. That is why a personal certain level of ethics are required in every individual for the society to function. Beyond that, the laws are only as good as the people on whom these laws or for whom these laws are meant for, right? Just like, are we not aware of situations where women have misused dowry laws or domestic violence acts? Yes, they have. But we also know lakhs and lakhs of women who are suffering on a daily basis in the rural areas because of lack of awareness, etc., at the hands of their spouse and spouse's family. So there are two sides to every coin. And before we make any drastic change in weakening the law, etc., we have to collect data and facts for it. Without facts, of course, I'm not denying that this law is not misused. This law is misused. But what can we do? Okay. Uh, Solve this question came in 2020. Very easy. Please mark the answer. 30 seconds only. Okay. Which one of the following categories of rights incorporates protection against untouchability? This is Article 17, right? Article 17 comes under which category of rights? 14 to 18. Why did you mark A as the answer? Right against exploitation is 23 and 24. These are different categories of rights. So please focus on the concerned category only. Don't mark anything based on words. Every word has its specific meaning and provisions. D is the answer. Last article under the right to equality is abolition of titles. Of course, we know very well no titles will be given except academic titles or military titles. Those are a mark of your contribution and achievement. Beyond that, the state will not confer any kind of title on people. Rai Bahadur, Company Bahadur. No, no, no. Nonsense. Equality. Every citizen is equal. And no citizen of India shall also accept any title from a foreign state. A foreign state, if it tries to give you a title, please don't accept it. If you accept it, your Indian citizenship can be taken away. Now, there is no provision like this. But that's what is the assumption. It may be taken away. For example, back in 1988, Sunil Gavaskar, the legendary cricketer, at one point of time, the highest run scorer in Test cricket, at one point of time. So he was being conferred with knighthood, Sir, Sir Sunil Gavaskar. But of course, UK was trying to give him the knighthood, but he could not accept it because Indian citizens are not allowed to accept titles from foreign governments. Also, no person who is not a citizen of India, if you are a foreigner but you are holding an office of profit or a trust under the state, if you are a foreigner but are holding some office of profit here, getting some government benefit, government contract, etc., you cannot accept any title from any foreign state without the consent of the Indian president. So even those foreigners who are getting some government benefits here with respect to some remuneration, etc., some office of profit, you are not allowed to accept title from a foreign country without president's consent. So for them, this option is there, that get the president's approval and get the title. And lastly, people like you, no person holding any office of profit or trust under the state, meaning government employees also, without the consent of president, will not accept any present, any emolument, or any office of any kind from any foreign state. Are we clear? You go to a foreign country as an IFS officer, you are getting gift from the government there. Please don't take those gifts home. Those gifts are meant for the country, not for you personally. Clear? So People who are serving under the government or any office holder, please do not accept any gifts, any emoluments, anything without the president's consent. In fact, for IFS officers and all, you cannot even marry a foreigner without center's permission. Clear? These are part of Article 18. Just a small point of extension of Article 18 is this concept of national awards. So, in our country, we provide these awards like Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan, Bharat Ratna. So, what is this is the criteria. Look at how defined is the criteria. Look at the criteria. Padma Shri is given for distinguished service. What's the meaning of this distinguished service? Center knows. Padma Bhushan is for distinguished service of high order. Padma Bhushan is the exceptional and distinguished service. And Bharat Ratna is for exceptional service or performance of the highest order. Such weak criteria. But anyway, these awards are given by conferred by Government of India. So maybe if you appreciate the government a little bit, Padma Shri. If you appreciate the government nicely, Padma Bhushan, very well, Vibhushan. And if you are crazy about the government, Bharat Ratna. No, no, I'm just kidding. Don't take it seriously, please. Now, this National Civil Awards. In 1977, these awards were ended or rather suspended. Why? When Janata Party came to power, Janata Party said that what is this nonsense giving awards to certain people, calling them Bharat Ratna? What are other people? Stones of Bharat. They're also Bharat Ratna. Why should only few people get this kind of stature? So for 3 years, these awards were not being given. When Indira Gandhi came to power, she said, "How dare you? My father started these awards," and it got revived again. Then in 1992, some people went to court to challenge that these awards violate Article 18 because the state is conferring a title called Bharat Ratna, Padma Bhushan, etc. Supreme Court said that they are not titles. Every state has a right to appreciate its citizens' contribution or people's contribution to the country. So these awards are not titles. They can be given to any person. Are we clear, everybody? The only condition is that must not be used with name as a prefix or a suffix. Clear? So once you get the Padma Shri, don't run to the Aadhaar office. Aadhaar office, please change my name. Padma Shri ABC. If you do this drama, your award will be taken away from you. Are you clear? So please don't do all this. And how many Padma Shris can be given? The government decides. Padma Bhushan, government decides. For Bharat Ratna, there is a limit. Maximum 3 every year. But there has been an exception. So the exception was in 1999 when in 1 year, 4 people got the Bharat Ratna. Jayaprakash Narayan, Amartya Sen, Gopinath Bordolai, Assam Guwahati Airport, and Ravi Shankar. Not Shri Ravi Shankar, the sitar player Ravi Shankar. Okay. Yes, Pooja, for PM also consent is required. Now there's a small point just I'd like to make a small point here, and that small point is this. In 1955, Pandit Nehru got the Bharat Ratna. Who gives the Bharat Ratna? Central government, Prime Minister. In 1955, who was the Prime Minister? Tell me. In 1955, who was the Prime Minister? Pandit Nehru. He actually gave the award to himself. In 1971, Indira Gandhi got this Bharat Ratna. Now tell me, in 1971, who was the Prime Minister of the country? Indira Gandhi. She actually gave the award to herself. I mean, so much so for modesty, right? Then, 1991, Patel got this award. Sardar Patel got this award in 1991. In 1990, Ambedkar was given this award along with Rajiv Gandhi, meaning the contribution of Rajiv Gandhi and Ambedkar it's the same, right? Do we agree on that? Is it appropriate? I mean, if you have not given Ambedkar and Patel the Bharat Ratna for 40 years, let it be then. It's okay. Tomorrow, if you give Bharat Ratna to Bhagat Singh, no, it's okay. Let it be. Some people are beyond such awards. They don't need award for appreciating their contribution to the nation. See, now we are given the award to Sachin Tendulkar in 2014. If you give this award to, say, tomorrow some other person, historical figure, then you are actually directly admitting that we find the contribution of Sachin way more important than somebody else. So there are two things, 2 points to incorporate here in suggestions. Number one, there should be a proper criteria. Set up a committee with fixed criteria to make recommendations. And number two, don't confer these awards on past personalities. You are only going to completely perverse the hierarchy. It's okay. People who have passed away, it's okay, done and dusted. There is absolutely no need to confer these awards on past personalities. And now, whoever has remained, it's okay. We don't need to have such kind of awards being given for them. And if there's an independent committee set up, they can have a more precise. See, they cannot be any exact criteria. It's not some examination, right? So yes, we can look at the contribution from a very qualitative perspective only. But the if the committee is there, which is an independent body, then it may be free from the government's control. So people who truly contribute in the field of, say, welfare, some social activists, etc., they may be given awards depending on again some qualitative parameters only. It's difficult to put an exact point that okay, if you've achieved this, then only this award. That cannot happen. But there should be some fixed criteria. This distinguished service is too vague as a criteria, right? Okay, that's it. Solve this question and then we'll move forward and take a break. Very simple, very easy question. So sad that you did not read this. Not correct. How many statements are not correct? Bharat Ratna and Padma Awards are titles. Are they titles? Yes or no? They are not titles. Padma Awards, which were instituted in the year 54, were suspended only once. No, two times. Wrong. The number of Bharat Ratna awards is restricted to a maximum of 5. It's 3. All 3 are wrong. D is the right answer. How many of you did not see not correct? Please say yes. Amazing. Imagine this happening in the examination hall. Shahid is a leader for this session. So, of course, he must have marked this answer correct. Definitely. And then Ananya and Senthil and people continue. Okay, guys, let's take a break. Be back at 5:40. 5:40. Once you come back at 5:40, we'll continue our discussion on the next group of rights from Article 19 onwards. Right to freedom. Break, please. Come back at 5:40.